Welcome back, Patriots, for another episode of the Bald Brad Show, where we cover all the greatest news out there and even the worst news, but we bring you the news with a conservative spin because we are a conservative outlet. We are open about it, and we ain't shameful about it either. It is also October 15th, meaning Donald Trump still, by far, not even close, the best president in American history. We're going to be covering a lot of different news, ranging from Hamas, the ceasefire. There might not be a ceasefire anymore. We'll get into that one. To the government shutdown, to Minnesota hearing confirms non-citizens may vote with driver's license. Yes, that is correct. To the cartel, to a Mexican national crash happening. There's so much going on right now. That's why we were a little bit late today, because I was trying to figure out, what do I even theme this show? Because there's not like one simple theme or mess. Chaos. I guess that's the theme, is chaos. Well, enough of me talking. Let's just get into it. Let's start with this opinion piece over here by Jonathan Ingram, who actually has really, really nice opinions over at the Daily Wire. Well, it says here in Washington, D.C., a politician's words don't count for much. Ain't that the truth? You're already starting off on a good note. What counts are their actions and who benefits from them. When you look behind the spin and empty talking points, illegal aliens and big insurance companies benefit most from the Democrats' ongoing filibuster of the budget and government shutdown. First, illegal aliens, and other non-citizens stand to gain roughly, get this, $200 billion in welfare benefits under Democrat proposals to cancel reforms passed by Republicans earlier this year. What do you all think is going on within the Democrat Party? And I mean, really, this is some tinfoil hat stuff. Why is it they are so hell-bent on making sure other countries, as well as other citizens of other countries like illegal aliens, why are they so hell-bent on giving them all this money and welfare services, but they're not willing to do the same thing for like American citizens, get them off the streets, give $200 billion of services for vets? I don't know if they're bought off or if there's some sort of blackmail going on with a lot of them, or they sold themselves to the devil. And by the way, I'm being serious, you guys. Please understand that. I know it sounds like I'm being silly, but I'm really not. I want to get to the bottom of this. What is going on with these people? We did not used to be like this as a country. That's a good point, Hans, for census counts. I mean, I think there's some truth to that. Is it about power? Maybe that's right. I think you guys are getting something in there with that one. Well, Congress had to close Obama and Biden era loopholes that provided welfare to illegal aliens, even though we were told for years that wasn't happening, including bonus money for illegal aliens, emergency Medicaid, Obamacare funding for non-citizens, lax oversight that let illegal aliens enroll with stolen identities, and the California loophole, my state, sorry, folks, which forced federal taxpayers to fund blue states' welfare spending on illegal aliens. All told, the Democrats' plan would put taxpayers back on the hook for billions in welfare for illegal aliens, and they're willing to shut down the government to get it. Meaning they are willing to, either you give us what we want, either you let us steal your money and give it to somebody else. If you don't do that, well, you know what? We're just going to shut this thing down. The problem is they are so stupid, they don't realize that they're talking to Republicans and conservatives, that if we had our way, we would virtually have no government. I mean, we would have some government, but we don't care. The only thing we care about is making sure the military gets paid. And, it does suck that there's some family members, not me personally, but some family members that work for the government. And, they got to feed their kids. That's a sad thing. But in terms of government, you're talking to a bunch of people that want small government. And I think they're just too stupid to realize that. The second beneficiary of the Democrat shutdown is big insurance companies. That's a big thank you from one of the last presidents, President Joe Biden, one of the worst presidents, if not the worst president in American history. Well, his COVID-era bonus programs, a temporary policy to expand Obamacare subsidies to insurance companies, more recently known as the Great Obamacare Enrollment Fraud. I love that one. What a great sentence. And you know it didn't take them long to come up with that. I think it just rolled off the tongue. You know what I mean? Usually you want to start with something like that. No, this is just free flowing. This is a great piece. During COVID, Democrats significantly increased taxpayer-funded Obamacare subsidies at every level, including those who make up to $500,000 are enrolled in this bad boy. $500,000, folks. For the typical enrollee, taxpayers paid $100. You know what? I'm gonna have to settle down here. Give me a moment here, folks. I'm gonna take this one a little bit slow. So if you have your earpieces in, push them in further. Listen to this. During COVID, Democrats significantly increased taxpayer-funded Obamacare subsidies at every level, including those who make up to $500,000. For the typical enrollee, the average Joe, the Joey bag of donuts that Bongino likes to talk about, taxpayers paid 100% of the premiums for a Platinum Plus plan that had no deductible and few copays. And then you wonder why everything's so expensive around you. This is why. Of course, there's supply and demand. But the demand, well, why is that there? Well, I don't know. Maybe because there's like 25 million illegal aliens in this country right now, taking from the system. And guess what? Hello, you're paying for it. So you're paying for somebody else's health care, and you're paying for your own health care. Oh, maybe that's why things are so expensive. Gee, I wonder why we all can't get ahead here. Huh? Wonder why millennials can't afford homes. Gee, I don't know. Probably because there's millions of people here siphoning from a system that shouldn't be there in the first place. At the time, Biden's COVID bonus was sold as a temporary boost with an expiration date. Correct. See that? Democrats in the chat, if you so happen to be here, see how there's an expiration date? That means that's when it ends. You don't keep it going. It's gone. We did a nice thing as a country to include people in healthcare during COVID because maybe we were sold something that exactly wasn't truthful. And well, it's gone now. But this is what they want to do. They want to expand it. These are the credits that Democrats just shut down the government to protect. The problem is low-income workers aren't the biggest beneficiaries of this plan. The insurance companies are. The Obamacare tax cuts are sent every month directly to the insurance company, regardless of what plan the enrollee chooses, and regardless of whether the enrollee uses them. Unsurprisingly, most generous plans are selected the most often, as you could imagine. Why? Because somebody else is footing the bill to the tune of 100%. So why would, if you're the one not paying for it and somebody else is subsidizing this bad boy, why would you not choose the best plan? You'd be stupid not to. Folks, if I said, hey, all of you are getting Disneyland passes, don't worry about it. It's all paid for. Brad, do you mean like any tier pass? It doesn't matter what tier I get. I could do like no blackout days. I can go on like Christmas and all that stuff. It really doesn't matter. I get the most expensive one. Yep, you're not paying for it. So how many of you would choose the best tier pass? You'd be silly not to. Free parking. You get discounts at the park. You're not paying for it. That's the biggest perk. You go whenever the hell you want. Of course you would choose the best plan. The average annual subsidy for this group has risen to about $7,500, $7,500 for those that don't know math, per person from the taxpayers' pockets, straight to the insurance company's bottom lines. That didn't just incentivize signups, it turbocharged them. You think there's a little bit of an incentive from the insurance companies to lobby the Democrat Party to make sure that this actually happens? You think maybe that might be one of the many variables that's inside this whole thing of pushing Democrats to make sure that this goes forward? And if they don't, well, they just lost a lot of money? I would imagine. I'd be curious if you follow the money from these insurance companies into the pockets of these Democrats like Chuck Schumer, how much of that money is going towards them? I wonder. I really, really do. That would make a little bit of sense why they're willing to keep the government shut down, because they're bought off. Not us. The other thing that's going to piss you off here, let's get to this a little bit and then we'll move on. Insurance brokers and agents are paid a commission on signups no matter how they were generated. That means taxpayer money is rewarding open fraud, stolen identities, and people being signed up for a switch without their knowledge or permission. A further proof of fraud. This is a crazy quote. This is a number. A stunning 40% of zero premium enrollees made no health care claims at all in 2024, meaning no doctor visit, no lab tests, no prescriptions filled. The number of no claim enrollees has increased more than sixfold in the last 5 years. Altogether, taxpayers are now sending more than $53 billion every year directly to insurance companies for people who never used their plans in the first place. Folks, they don't even know they have them or don't even know they exist. This is crazy, dude. This is like those banks that signed you up for a checking account and you're like, what the? I don't have a checking account. I'm not even with Chase. What are you talking about? Washington Mutual? What? That's basically what's happening there. Oh, it's crazy. Oh, it's crazy bigly. Well, speaking of crazy things, we got some irony alert here with Barack Obama. Yeah, and I gotta, let me make sure I queue up this X post really quick. All right, so we got both. So former President Barack Obama triggered a virtual wave of backlash on Monday when a video clip went viral showing him calling for a Justice Department, FBI, and court system free from the meddling of politicians. If you don't see the irony in that first paragraph, all I'm going to say is one thing. Crossfire hurricane, folks. Obama joined comedian and podcast host Mark Maron for his final episode, and in an obvious attempt to attack immigration and custom enforcement operations under President Donald Trump, he accidentally delivered a knockout punch to his own administration. Well, here we go. Let's check this out.
We don't want, kangaroo courts and trumped up charges. That's what happens in other places that we used to scold for doing that. We want like our court system and our Justice Department and our prosecutors to be, and our FBI to be just playing things straight and looking at the facts and not meddling in politics the way we've seen lately. We
It's the craziest thing. It really is. By the way, let's go to the comment section here. Whoever owing allegiance to the United States levies war against them, blah, blah, blah. All right, bunch of nonsense. Okay. Well, he pivoted to the court system, then added, we don't want kangaroo courts and trumped up charges. That's what happens in other places that we use to scold for doing that. Blah, blah, which we read all that. But critics were quick to point out here that the federal government under Obama had been highly politicized, from lawsuits targeting little sisters of the poor and the IRS. That's always the big one, the IRS, because he really did weaponize that to go against his political opponents. He went after Republicans and conservatives, folks. We talk about this one all the time. Weaponized against, there you go, conservatives to the Justice Department, politically driven investigation into Donald Trump. Oh, the irony. The irony. He's desperate. His legacy is trash and he knows it. It really is. Nobody talks about him. The only thing they ever say about the guys is that, he allowed Iran become a nuclear power, basically, at least the most pathway, terrible Iranian nuclear deal, just all sorts of stuff. Gave him over $1 billion cold hard cash to a country, to a government that supports terrorism. The leading sponsor of terror, this idiot gave $1 billion of cash. He's like, I don't care what you do with it. Have fun with it. DeSantis says the guy who presided over the fabrication of the Russia collusion narrative, meaning Crossfire Hurricane, and the IRS targeting of the conservatives. Greg Stube says Barack Obama has no business lecturing anyone about playing things straight. Under Obama's watch, his IRS targeted conservatives, his DOJ spied on reporters, his FBI wiretapped the Trump campaign, his administration pushed the Russiagate hoax against Trump. I mean, actually, there's more here. We got to see what else he wrote here. This is too good. Obama set the standard for political meddling, and thank goodness President Trump is there to clean up the mess he and Biden left behind. Well, again, Democrats don't even acknowledge any of that. That whole list is true, by the way. But like I mentioned, they'll look the other way on it. It's, well, how do we know that? Because we've seen it time and time again. That's how we know it. They won't even give Donald Trump credit. The left won't give Donald Trump credit for his Hamas ceasefire deal. They were complaining about it in interviews. And by the way, where are all those peaceful protesters? They're so peaceful. Where are they out in the street thanking Donald Trump? Why are they not doing handwritten letters left and right to Donald Trump for freeing Palestine? It's crazy. Well, speaking of that, President Donald Trump said Tuesday that Hamas terrorists would lay down their weapons or the United States would disarm them, which is implying that the ceasefire would be over. And, well, things would get a little bit dirty, let's just say. Now, I don't think Trump himself would send the troops in. I think he would have Benjamin Netanyahu go in and just, well, we know where that would go. Speaking to reporters during a roundtable with Argentinian President Javier Milei at the White House, Trump said that Hamas has already promised to disarm, which was a major demand in the president's 20-point peace plan. Well, I'd like to point out that they did come out of the woodwork, meaning Hamas, yesterday. So it's so funny. Somebody actually left a comment on it on the video. It was Hamas standing there with their machine guns, and somebody said the only military in the world to come out when the war's done. So here's Donald Trump. By the way, shout out to Milei for completely turning around that country. It just goes to show you, when you remove the leftist psycho policies from your country, man, your country will flourish. It really will. It goes through the roof. Gee, I wonder what happened. America's already great. Can you imagine if we got rid of all these leftist ideologies out there and just allowed our country to flourish, meaning stop giving billions of dollars to illegals and everything else out there? Incredible.
On Gaza, how long will it take Hamas to disarm, and can you guarantee that is going to happen?
Well, they're going to disarm, and because they said they were going to disarm. And if they don't disarm, we will disarm them.
How will you do that?
I don't have to explain that to you. But if they don't disarm, we...
How are you going to do that? Oh, Trump, you don't want to know. I don't need to explain shit to you, lady.
will disarm them. They know I'm not playing games. Okay? Now,
on Gaza.
Oh, best president, man. Seriously, the best president. Oh, boy. Trump successfully pressured Hamas to agree to a ceasefire and hostage deal with Israel. Now, here's the thing, too. Israel got all the hostages back, which is like all that they wanted, by the way. So if Hamas doesn't want to give up their firearms, their weapons, Israel, I don't want to say they don't have anything to lose because they have, lives to lose, but they'll just go in and just kick the crap out of you. So Hamas and the Palestinians need to be very careful here because things could go the other direction. Like real quick. So we'll see what happens with all of that. I don't know if that's in the second phase or what. Maybe that's why they haven't given up their firearms yet. I know they're still delivering the deceased hostages, unfortunately, which is just terrible, by the way. Just god awful. We have updates here for all of you regarding Charlie Kirk's birthday, but also receiving the highest civilian honor. So in front of a large audience in the Rose Garden, the president presented the award to Kirk's widow, Erica Kirk. The event was attended by many family members, friends, and acquaintances of Kirk from within the administration, Kirk's conservative youth organization, Turning Point USA, and elsewhere. So 5 weeks ago, our nation was robbed of this extraordinary champion. He was a champion in every way. I got to know him so well, said Trump. It was a horrible, heinous, demonic act of murder. He was assassinated in the prime of his life, boldly speaking the truth for living his faith and relentlessly fighting for a better and stronger America. He loved this country, and that's why this afternoon is my privilege to posthumously award Charles James Kirk our nation's highest civilian honor, the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Erica also spoke at the event. She said, today we are gathered not only to celebrate Charlie's birthday, but to honor a truth that he gave his entire life to defend, and that's freedom. The very existence of the Presidential Medal of Freedom reminds us that the nation's interest of the United States has always been freedom, she said. Our founders etched it into the preamble of our Constitution, and those words are not relics on parchment. They are a living covenant. The blessings of liberty are not man's invitation, they are God's endowment. It's brilliant power. That's actually a very, very, I just got goosebumps. That's a very powerful 2 sentences right there. Charlie lived for those blessings, not as abstract words, but as sacred promises, which is true. And the key word here is blessings of liberty. And as I've always mentioned, the left are the ones that want to chisel those blessings of liberty away, folks. And those blessings are not something that should be taken for granted. And when you take something for granted, well, sooner or later, it will be taken away from you. And that's exactly what the left's trying to do. You don't have to look any further than what California's trying to do by taking away. We talked about this on Dark MAGA, just so you guys know. California has banned Glocks. Correct, the firearm. Yeah, the pistol, the handgun. Glocks. The most popular handgun on the market by far. It's a workhorse. Banned them. No, I'm not kidding. If you want me, I will. Let me know in the chat. Do you guys want me to cover that article? We covered it during Dark MAGA yesterday, but we'll cover it in front of everybody today. Freaking banned Glocks in the state of California. Just signed it. Crazy. Unbelievable. Just doesn't care about the Second Amendment at all. Gavin Newsom. Don't get me going. I'm going to get pissed about it. I'm a massive Second Amendment fan. So I believe the Glock ban will not stand. Oh, I don't think it's going to stand in court either. There's no way in hell, especially with the Heller case. I'd be shocked. I'd be shocked. Well, Letitia James, fugitive family member. New York Attorney General Letitia James may have sheltered a fugitive in her Virginia home for the past 5 years. Huh? Like Home Improvement. You guys remember that, Tim Allen? James was charged with bank fraud last week for allegedly lying on mortgage papers to get a lower interest rate on a house in Virginia. We'll see what happens with that. While James owns the home, the current tenant is her grandniece, Nakia Thompson, and her 3 children who have lived in the house since 2020. Thompson is officially listed as the absconder in the database of North Carolina's Department of Adult Correction. According to the Daily Mail, she's wanted by authority. What the heck? Hold on a second. She's wanted by authorities for skipping out on her probation. Oh, no. The spokesman for the North Carolina Department of Correction said Thompson was sentenced to probation for misdemeanor convictions for assault and battery and trespassing. Whoa. He confirmed that she is considered a fugitive from the state, but added that because her crimes are considered low level, she is non-extraditable. Wow. That's nuts, man. Well, look, we all got family problems. I mean, I don't got anything like that, let me tell you, but dang, that's nuts. We also have UK's Labour turns to digital ID. We talked about this in the past. We had told you it was coming. If you think this is not going to come to America, you got to wake up. Really. If you think digital IDs is not coming to the market, you got to wake up. It will happen sooner or later. The UK's Labour turns to digital ID to curb illegal immigration. So they approved a controversial new law that mandates digital IDs as a way to curb illegal immigration. I mean, this is one of the things. It's also to surveillance you. It's also to figure out what the hell you're saying online so they come to your home and arrest you. Morning Wire spoke with Guy Dampier, senior research on nationhood at the Prosperity Institute, about the new law. A lot of frustration boiling over in the UK right now over immigration, and now we have this heated debate over digital ID. Let's start with Prime Minister Starmer. He's defending his party's immigration policies and accusing the Conservative Reform Party of pushing supposedly racist policies. Catch us up on what's going on here. So we're just going to read this first paragraph and then we're going to move on. The issue of Reform's policy on residency for immigrants, indefinite leave to remain, means that an immigrant can, after 5 years, get access to the same welfare benefits as a British citizen. So crazy, dude. The vast majority of people who get ILR will stay forever. Well, why would you not when you're getting free benefits to the level of the people that actually live there? That matters because in the last few years, there was an immigration wave of around 4 million people. Most of those were low skilled and will be a drain on the taxpayer. And not to mention, not just a drain on the taxpayer, I would say more important, they're going to be a drain on your culture. Because now they're going to change that culture. They're going to have kids in that country that is also going to change that culture. You no longer have the UK. And by the way, I think that's already happened. I think the UK has fallen. We did a video on it, but that's just my personal opinion. I don't think the UK is coming back. I hope I'm wrong, by the way. What an amazing place. But I think we have finally seen the UK fallen, which is a big deal because once that moves further left, they ain't necessarily going to be our allies in the future if things keep going the way that they're going. Well, why? Well, when you have a country that doesn't share in the same values as you, they're no longer your allies anymore. Why? Because they don't share the same values as you. Freedom of speech, okay, democracy, all that stuff. Spreading what is right, good, Christianity, Judeo-Christian views. I don't mean you have to have that to be good. You don't. But there's a lot of variables that make a country great. A lot. Reform have announced that they will abolish ILR, forcing those who have come to apply for new visas, which will include new checks on their qualifications and language skills. But do you see how when other people commit crimes, meaning illegal immigrants, what that does, and I know we're talking about the UK here, but connect this to America. When other people do criminal behavior, it always swings so far that you're going to create something that removes or chisels away at people's rights or their liberties. And the case to be made here is, for example, California with the Glocks. I know I keep bringing that back up, but it's a perfect analogy to what's going on here. Is they banned Glocks because they said criminals are turning them into machine guns. So we're just going to ban them so criminals can't get their hands on Glocks anymore because Gavin Newsom's an idiot. As if these people are legally getting the firearms in the first place. So who gets hurt? People that own Glocks. People that enjoy using Glocks because it's a workhorse. It's a gun that's reliable. You can count on it. It's not going to go out on you. The thing could fire 2,000-3,000 rounds, no problemo. Some people are lazy and they don't clean their Glocks all the time. Clean your weapons, folks. The language test only requires that you have B1 English, which is enough to struggle through a book for small children, but nowhere near enough what you need to just read a newspaper. As most of these 4 million migrants come from Africa and India subcontinent, labor have been branded it racist. Yeah, it's always racist. Yeah, sure it is. Everything's racist. Which just, what does racism even mean anymore? Honestly, it's like the word Nazi or fascist. It just doesn't mean anything anymore. It's just so cool. You called somebody a name. Awesome. Sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me. All right, let's see what else we have here in the news for all of you. Yep. This was the one. Minnesota. Everybody just take a breather really quick. Election director confirms non-citizens can vote with driver's license. Everybody take a deep breath. Settle down. Settle down. In an October 14th, 2025 legislative hearing, Minnesota Elections Director Paul Linnell testified that non-citizens holding driver's licenses under the 2023 Driver's Licenses for All law can cast ballots by affirming eligibility, even if flagged by the system. Oh, but we were all told what? What were we told? Yes, Jeff has it correct in the chat. Shout out to a moderator. They said illegals couldn't vote. That's what we were told. As we've always mentioned here on the show, it's our catchphrase, as we've always mentioned. Whatever Democrats say that they don't do, if you just assume that they do it, most often you're going to be right. Like most often, not every time. That'd be silly. Come on, let's not act like knuckleheads. Let's not act like the left here, like silly, illy, billy, illy. If you just assume when Democrats say they aren't doing something, just know most likely they are. Or whatever they say about us, it's really them just projecting, and that's them. So when they call us racists, if you just look at their party and everything they've done, that's the racist stuff. The law signed by Governor Tim Walz, the guy that was almost vice president, allows residents to obtain licenses without proving citizenship, raising Republican concerns about election integrity and prompting post-election reviews for felonies. Democrats argue that database checks and severe penalties ensure safeguards against abuse as ongoing lawsuits challenge the state's overall voter rolls.
It's done.
A packed room at the St. Paul Armory erupted after the governor's signature made driver's license for all the law of the land.
So we give driver's licenses to anyone here. You don't have to be a citizen. You don't have to, which is a photo ID. So if someone comes in, they register, they have the driver's license, but they have an incorrect social or no social or whatever. So then they become incomplete. But if they walk in to vote with their driver's license, does that make them all of a sudden now okay?
Mr. Linnell.
Madam Chair, so the designation on the roster for someone whose registration had been incomplete, if they present the election judge with that acceptable identification document, that would clear the challenge from the roster and they would be permitted to cast a ballot.
Wow.
Anderson.
Well, okay, there's
Wow.
your problem potentially. So thank you.
So just to clarify, someone
Wow.
who's not a citizen but presents a driver's license at that point in the process could be permitted to vote.
Madam Chair, at the time of registration, as well as at the time of submitting a ballot, every voter is signing the attestation affirming their eligibility to vote, including that they meet all eligibility requirements, that they are a U.S. citizen.
Wow. Wow, there you have it. Let's just, which one has the most? This one has.
It's done.
All right, so let's go here. Let's see what people have to say. Good job, Representative Anderson. Remember, DFL rejected marking these licenses not for voting to allow this. No way to catch anyone. No way to retrieve ballot once cast. This was designed for fraud, but somehow we are supposed to believe people would never do that. Yeah. Yep. This is crazy. Leftist media cycle. Here we go. It isn't happening. It rarely happens. It's actually a good thing. If you're against it, you're racist. Yo, that's good. Oh, if you go through the comments, sometimes it gives you hope for people. I'm telling you, it really does. I mean, there's a lot of things that are not very hopeful, but this is also one for you. Do you know Minnesota is the only state to have consecutively voted blue every presidential election? I think this was for Reagan, by the way. But there was a what's the word I'm looking for? There was a good possibility that Reagan actually won Minnesota, but he never contested it. And there was a lot of theories out there that say that if he would have contested Minnesota, it would actually show that it went red and he would have had everything. But, that's not the topic of conversation. All right. So we got that there for you. Non-citizens basically can vote, even though we were told that they couldn't. So typical. Unbelievable. Here's a video of a leftist. Sometimes you don't need coffee in the morning. Sometimes you just need to hear a leftist talk. Here we go.
So I'm going to go ahead and assume that ICE agents are all molesters. Right?
What?
I mean, they're like all rapists. Like all of them.
For those on audio, just to give you, because there's a lot of people that go out and, they work blue collar jobs. Shout out to those people for working really hard. And I'm in their ears right now. Hello. Or some people are driving and I'm playing in their car. Thanks for listening. God bless you. Drive safe. Make sure your seatbelt's on. For those on audio, she's wearing just if you had to picture a lefty, okay, somebody that is clearly there's something going on with this woman. She's all tatted up. Nothing against tats, but she's all tatted up. She has a nose piercing at what appears to be almost age 40 or in her 40s. She has thick rimmed glasses. She has short bangs to the side, kind of like we did in the early 2000s, the emo look. Hair about shoulder length as well. But then she has the buzz cut. That was, for me, that was the signifier right there. I mean, there's a couple other things you could just tell. You just know that this person struggles with a lot of stuff. But it was the buzz cut on the side that was it.
If they haven't done it, they haven't had the opportunity.
I think there's a buzz cut.
They haven't been caught.
Maybe it's not. Folks, can we go to the chat? Is that a buzz cut on the side there? Or is that just short hair? Either way, red flag.
I think the same about cops too, honestly. Because
jeez,
there's like literally no other reason to do that job other than to wield power and rape and molest people. I don't know. Convince me otherwise. I didn't decide that. They chose that. It's not my fault they're
these
like
people
that.
are not well, man.
So I'm going to go ahead.
These people are really, really not well. Just, this is what they do. By the way, they do this for all of you as well in the chat, just so you know. Yeah, she's talking about cops and ICE agents or whatever the hell. Please know she thinks about this regarding all of you. It's crazy. And me, by the way, she thinks that I'm probably a racist and whatever the hell she said. I look, all I'm going to say is, would you take workout advice from a fat person? Probably not. I'm not going to take advice, and this should not bother anybody. I don't think it does. I don't think you should take advice from this lady. This is not a well woman. So, of course, as always, we got to go to the chat. We got to go to the chat. All cops are this until she's out for a late night jog or in case driving through, being followed by a migrant, in which case they can't come soon enough. Yep. It's true. Not wrong. Not wrong at all. Let's see if Scott Jennings has posted anything, and then we'll get to some more news. There's a lot of stuff to cover. He's so busy, he just hasn't been on CNN destroying them. Here we go. I got you, folks. I got you. Settle down.
But Brother Scott, though, are you concerned about the Palestinians? Can you take that off of the Palestinians and all of their suffering?
Well, I'm concerned about what's happening to them right now. They're being shot in the street by Hamas.
Well, they're under occupation. It just had 20,000 babies killed in 23 months.
They're under occupation.
Do you believe that a hostage on the by Palestinians has the same value as a Palestinian incarcerated? I just have to ask that question.
I don't regard some of the people that were in prison in Israel to be hostages. These were terrorists that we had to let go in order to get these 20 people back. The 20 living hostages did nothing wrong. Many, as Abby pointed out in her monologue, of the people the Palestinians wanted released are absolute terrorists who killed many people.
Have no trial and have had no due process.
These 20 people did nothing. The people taken on October the 7th were purely innocent.
Let me just 99
innocent.
Let me show you.
This is like that uncle that you have at Thanksgiving that basically worked next to a microwave his entire life and his brain is just fried. There was so much radiation coming out of that microwave that it not only fried his brain, but he don't have a clue, man. Isn't it wild? Well, the Palestinians are occupied. By who? For like 20 years, nobody's occupied them. By the way, I'm not even like pro-Israel. I'm pro-America, man. And I'm going back going, isn't it odd that they keep talking about the Palestinians and how terrible Israel is? How much news coverage have you guys heard of how bad Hamas is and how terrible those terrorists are? Folks, they were raping dead bodies, okay? They were breaking people's limbs to get them in the back of the truck and then spitting on them and still beating the crap out of dead bodies, dead women. Do you guys realize there's not a single living hostage that's a woman? Whatever happened to believe all women? Where's the feminist movement on that one? Just gonna ask. I just have a question. Where is all the feminists regarding not a single hostage that's alive being a woman? have some questions. But remember, they will not stop with their rhetoric, and they will basically compare Trump to Hitler. Here we go. The guy that freed Jews, got the release of 20 Jews back to Israel, moved the headquarters of Israel to Jerusalem. The Jews were praising this guy's name in the streets the other day, have entire flags and buildings named after everything. The Jews love Trump, but he's a Nazi. Here we go.
I say that's not good. I say that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
Judge, did we have an election last year?
That doesn't justify.
And are we going to have one next year?
rationalize.
And are we going to have one the next year?
Rationalize.
I think the democracy is functioning.
Also,
We're
a lot
having
of
free and fair
institutions-
elections.
Not functioning the way that it has.
Oh, you see, there you go. You're rationalizing it again. Hitler could have had the majority.
And
So
people
what?
voted for
So what is
low
wrong?
price eggs,
So
not
what
for
is wrong?
authoritarianism. There's a difference.
Hamas was elected democratically.
All right. Okay, we're not going to make that comparison.
I say that.
Hamas was elected Democrat. Do you notice that all they do is say a bunch of BS? I know that you know this. I know those on audio know this. Oh, if Hitler had the majority and then Hamas was elected democratically, and Scott was exactly right to ask this question. When? When did that happen? Because they just pull stuff out of their you know what. Here's also Scott talking about the yellow flag pin that he's been wearing for 2 years.
What's going to happen next? I mean, you said the guns were silent. I wish that were totally true. Hamas is going around and executing some Palestinians right now, torturing them in the streets, and apparently they plan to execute more tomorrow. I mean, these are bad people. And
Totally agree.
The idea that they're going to de-radicalize or willingly give up their arms, I'm skeptical of. So
Sure.
I worry for the Palestinians, actually, because of what Hamas is now doing to them inside of Gaza. But I've been wearing this pin for 2 straight years, waiting for these hostages to come home, and I've been waiting to take it off, and I'm going to take it off tonight because the 20 people came out, and I met some of the families earlier this year, and I've been following their stories quite closely, and I'm going to replace it with an American pin, American flag pin, because in my opinion, this was a huge victory for the American people, led by our president, but it was only through the power and the force of will of the President of the United States that 20 people returned to their families, that we have the beginnings of the possibility of a peaceful era in the Middle East, and that maybe a future can be had by millions upon millions of people in a place where it's sometimes hard to visualize the future. And so I couldn't be prouder to be an American tonight, because without the United States and without our president, this doesn't happen.
First of all, shout out to Scott. I'm laughing about this guy here. This poor guy. God, dude. Sometimes it's just, you got to know when to hang it up. You know what I mean? You got to throw in the jersey, man. Just push things aside. It's just crazy. So here's more of that same panel. I actually can't get enough of this. I'm so glad I stumbled upon this. Well, I think it speaks for itself. Here we go.
I say that's not good. I say that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
Did we have an election last year?
That doesn't justify.
And are we going to have one next year?
rationalize.
And are we going to have one the next year?
Rationalize.
I think the democracy is functioning.
Also,
We're having free and fair.
It's just such a good clip. Well, Hitler had the majority, and Hamas was democratically elected. It's like, really? It's just a bunch of crazy. Oh boy. Alrighty, let's see what else we have here. Let's go to breaking news. Give me one moment, folks, while we get that settled in for you. While we're waiting, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button if you're enjoying what you're hearing and listening to. We do this each and every morning, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So if you haven't already, make sure you join us each morning. We would love for you to be part of our crew here. We have one of the best chats on social media, if not the best chat. And we would love for you to be a part of that. We have here cash scandal happening. Zohran Mamdani's mayoral race here. Something happened in here. Oh, we can't even see it. Lame. Well, his campaign took foreign cash raising compliance questions. So let's see if we can get another article on this for you guys real quick. See, Fox, that's why you don't want to, keep people out, because we'll just find the article hopefully somewhere else. So Mamdani's mayoral campaign took in $13,000 in illegal foreign donations, records show. Uh-oh. Why is that happening? Leftist, socialist, and frontrunner Zoman Mamdani campaign quietly took in nearly $13,000 in potentially illegal foreign donations, including one from his mother-in-law in Dubai. At least 170 of the nearly 54,000 contributions to the leading Democratic candidate's campaign came from donors with addresses outside the United States. Only U.S. citizens are permitted, or permanent legal residents are allowed to contribute to political campaigns and political action committees under federal, state, and local laws. Folks, do you find it fascinating that if this was Donald Trump, wall-to-wall coverage, that the Russians are meddling in our elections, the Russians are even if there was one, I'm talking like some dude out there in Russia donated $1 to the Trump campaign, the media would find that and go absolutely berserk over it. They would. It's really, really crazy. Well, before we move forward, folks, if you haven't tuned in this season, you need to check out the NFL. I mean, are you ready for some primetime NFL action? I've been pushing this a lot. We've been talking about it a lot. Tune in to Westwood One for all the gridiron glory you crave. From jaw-dropping touchdowns to game-changing plays, don't miss a moment of the excitement. Catch every snap, every tackle, and every victory, by the way, on Westwood One. You can listen to the NFL on the NFL app, on the Westwood One Sports app, on WestwoodOneSports.com via Westwood One, station streams, or by asking Alexa to open Westwood One Sports. If it's the NFL, it's on Westwood One. Make sure you go check them out. We've been talking about them a lot. They got a good stream. The audio is great. And, like they said, you can catch every tackle, every snap, and every victory on the Westwood One app. So if you haven't already, make sure you scan this QR code right here with your phone. I'll leave it up for a moment. You can also just go download it from the App Store. You have what the icon looks like right here, the Westwood One. So make sure you check that out today. Shout out to the NFL. All righty. Well, here we have it. Dean Cain, Superman, is going viral. So I guess there was a post here. This is as of an hour ago. Actor Dean Cain's October 15th X post featuring $2.89 per gallon outside of the United States. Well, geez. Hold on a second. Let me wake up here a moment. Adi. Outside of California. See, I almost said outside the United States. That would be really silly of me, wouldn't it? Outside of California drew 330 likes and sparked user shares of local prices as low as $2.59 in North Carolina. Dude, I'm paying like $5 something a gallon here in California. $2.72 in Mississippi, contrasting states' $4.72 average, driven by high taxes and regulations. National prices stand at $3.11, down 12%, almost 13% down since May of 2024. Amid stable forecast, replies evoke nostalgia for historic lows like 18 cents in 1930 and 99 cents in 1990s, highlighting regional disparities in fuel costs. Yeah, there's California. Isn't that nuts, dude? That's what I paid yesterday. It's crazy. For those on audio, it says basically $5.80. It's basically $5.80. Isn't that nuts? For unleaded. For those that don't know, unleaded's the regular. Crazy. It really is. It's this whole state is ridiculous. Well, why do you live there, Brad? Because somebody has to hold it down here. Somebody has to put in the work. So here's the story I was talking about previously. So if you're a Second Amendment advocate, you're really going to love this one. The National Rifle Association filed a lawsuit against California over a first-of-its-kind law that effectively bans one of the most popular handguns in America. On Friday, nutjob Gavin Newscomb signed into law a new bill that bans the sale and transfer of Glock, and check this out, I still don't know what this means, Glock-style handguns in the state beginning January 1st of, I believe, 2026. In a suit filed on Monday, the NRA argues that the law blatantly violates the Second Amendment rights of Californians. Yes, absolutely. So they're going to go after this. It's ridiculous. I don't see this carrying any weight whatsoever. And I would imagine it's going to be knocked down by the Supreme Court for specifically the Heller case. It's nuts. It's nuts. Now, if you're curious on what the definition of infringe means, so let me pull this up for all of you really quickly. Let's just go to Library of Congress. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms, the right of the people to keep and bear arms, shall not what? Be, what's that word at the end there? Infringed. Now, let's just do this really quickly. Let me move it over here. Okay. The word infringed means act so as to limit or undermine something, encroach on. Just going to go back to this. Okay. So all we need to do is just replace this word right here with the actual definition. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be limited or undermined or encroached on. Hello? I mean, it speaks for itself. This is what they do. This is what they do. But this is what we do, folks. We call out the BS. We make sure that we unapologetically give you the news. We don't try to manipulate anything. We just give the common sense, average Joe American style of news. And I hope you guys appreciate it, because I appreciate hanging out with all of you. I get to hang out with you. It's not you hanging out with me. This is how it works. It goes the other way. If you haven't already, make sure you check out baldbrad.com, folks. We kind of run on your donations. You help keep the lights on here for us. If you go to baldbrad.com and you go to donation tab up at the top, we get 97% of the money you send in. So I use Squarespace. They take 3%, but you can do the normal amounts that people do, but you can also do custom here. And you can do one-time donation, weekly, monthly. And if you do monthly, it's just going to do like a subscription service, and it helps keep the lights on here for us, folks. And I just want to give a shout out to everybody that does this. Just so you know, it sends me an email with your donation. It gives me your name and your email address and stuff like that. I just want to say thank you. Some of you have asked me not to give you a shout out on the show through your donations. So just want to say thank you. Appreciate you. God bless you. If you feel like it, don't feel like you have to. But if you want, there is the website for all of you. baldbrad.com/donate, and you could do your custom amount. I don't know, $1,000 looks nice. You know, if you want to do 10, some of you are rich, man. You got $10,000? I'll take 10,000. Trust me, I ain't gonna say no. You know, I mean, if you're bougie and you got like 150K, I mean, it goes through. It will go through. Just know that. I take cold hard cash, Venmo. Can you imagine if somebody gave $150,000, dude? I'd throw up. Jeff says Brad bought the coffee mug and received it, still waiting for the decal. Well, I'm sorry you still haven't got the decal, but shout out with the mug, man. Heck yeah, dude. Shout out to you. I got a little coffee stain on mine. But with that being said, pray for this country, pray for Donald Trump, read your scripture, meaning your Bibles or whatever faith you believe in. And folks, we'll be back here tomorrow, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, for more news. And let's hope it's good news. With that being said, I don't take Venmo. No, I was joking. Just because Venmo actually, just the donation website. But appreciate you guys. God bless you. Take care of yourselves, your family. Tell somebody you love them. And I'll see you tomorrow here on the Bald Brad Show. Take care, Patriots.